All right, good morning. So we're gonna do a couple of different types of ribs today. I'm gonna do it both at the same time. So we got a baby back rib, and we've got the St. Louis spare ribs. And the big difference between them is just kind of the shape of the actual rib itself. So this rib is your typical traditional rib shape, a little bit thicker, a little bit meatier. This has the same rib shape here, but it's also got this line all through here that you can either trim that off or you can just cook it and then cut around it after you're done. So it's a little bit wider, so it takes a little bit more flavoring. We're gonna do it both at the same time because I've got two different temperature gauges. So let me get these things cut up. All right, excuse the hat. Normally I don't, but I just woke up. It's 7:30, actually I woke up at 6. I got the ribs resting. It's easier to work with them when they're warm than when they're cold. So this is the hardest part. I cut the trimming off of it, but it's this silver skin. You should be able to see it. Zoom in the video if you need to. You can get them de-silver skinned, like you can have the butcher do it, but honestly, it's not horribly difficult to do it. Once you grab it, you're just gonna pull it along. Now, it gets slippery. So as you're going, don't worry if it breaks apart. You're trying to get most of it. I don't know if you're gonna get all of it. It's not gorgeous. I don't know if you're gonna get all of it off of there. And then every once in a while, you're gonna get them where the butcher, when they trimmed it, they cut them along here. So that silver skin is gonna break up right there. And so it's gonna get a lot harder to pull that off there. And as you go, your fingers get slippery because, you know, it's raw pork. So you just pick a side. Sometimes you pick at that little cut, like that one right there. You pick at that little cut and you're gonna be able to get your finger underneath that silver skin and pull it off of there. Now, do you have to take it off? I guess not. I mean, you could chew through it. Just kind of depends on your family. Like my daughter and my wife would not be excited about this being on there. Makes it a bit more chewy. It definitely damages that rib experience. So it is pretty durable. So you'll notice, like, see how it's starting to come up along that cut. I'll wrap it around my hand so it doesn't slip. There we go. Lost a bit of fat on that one, but I'd rather not have the silver skin in there. And then you're gonna see, like, this section right here, it didn't catch it. So you just go back and just peel that the rest of the way off. It's not that tough once you've already got that lip going, see? Now, some of you might not be excited about this. You can use gloves if you want. Again, you can get a butcher to do it. Just go to your happy place. Peel it off. It's a worthwhile thing. The biggest thing with barbecue is preparation. So give yourself plenty of time. Like I said, it's 7:30. We're not eating until tonight. So, gonna get the Traeger fired up. Now, it's kind of cold here in Colorado, but I've got a double wall on my Traeger, so it should be fine with that cold. The other thing you could do is get a blanket, offset smoker or something like that if you need to. All right, so I got most of the silver skin off, pretty much everything. I got a glove on now just to help spread everything, but yeah, what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna use some oil. Just get it out there, on there. It helps the flavoring stick. Spread it out. We'll do the other side of it as well, but we're just gonna use that oil to coat it so that all of the seasoning will stick. Now, I'm just using a sweet and smoky. My wife bought me a few of them. It doesn't really matter which one you do. Pick something that you enjoy the smell of, because smell is a lot of the taste. So we'll get them all seasoned up. I'll jump in here in a second once they're all done. All right, Traeger's ready. I don't know if you can see my breath, but you could definitely see the Traeger's breath. These are ready to go. I don't have a probe in them right now. And the reason why is because they're just gonna go on 225 to get smoke. So it's set on super smoke. The goal is to get as much smoke into them as possible. The meat's really only gonna take it for 2 hours. I don't care what the temp is at that point in time. I'll wrap them, temp them later, and be good to go. So I'm gonna toss these suckers onto the Traeger right now, 225, and give them 2 hours at super smoke. It's 38 degrees outside right now. All right, so they smoked for 2.5, 3 hours. And so now I'm just going to add a little bit of moisture to this pan. You could probably use apple juice or whatever. I'm using chicken broth. And then a little bit of apple cider too. They're not going to pick up any more smoke after a certain period of time, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to just leave them on the smoker. You could technically just take this pan, put it directly into the oven. And yeah, you know, the typical people who smoke out there would be like, no, you need to do that. But that's just because they want an excuse to drink a beer. I don't drink beer, so I'm good to go. A little bit of seasoning on top, and then just want to make sure you get another coating. And then the final thing is you just wrap this with foil, put in your meat probes, make sure that you can connect them to your Traeger, and then we'll temp them both. Sorry, dust got me. Because they're both two different types, we'll temp them both separately and make sure that we get up to our desired temp. That basically is it.
All right, ribs are up to 204, so it's time to take them off. Now, I got shit to do today, so pro move is to save the foil, save the container. Obviously, we're going to remove the probes here so that it stays nice and tight. They came right out, so it's a good sign. And then you can actually rest these almost as long as you want. Now, testing the limits, I don't know. I'm gonna rest these for about 4 hours before I'm actually ready to prepare them and eat them. So, what is it, noon? It's 1 o'clock. So ribs are done, 1 o'clock. I'm not rushing dinner or trying to make sure that it's gonna hit a specific time. My wife get mad at me because we're waiting on the Traeger food to hit a temperature. So, just take it, leave it in the foil. It doesn't get your cooler all dirty. And then put it in a cooler. Now, obviously coolers keep things cool, but they also keep things hot. Put a towel over it so the moisture doesn't just go everywhere. Now it'll heat up the inside of that cooler pretty darn quick. And it'll stay at temp and for as long as we need. So this is just a cheap Coleman cooler. It's actually not quite even big enough for what I need, but it's big enough. And yeah, it holds the stuff for as long as we want. So I'll when I unbox it, we'll take a look at it. We'll see how nice and tender they are. Right. So ribs are out of the cooler. Still nice and warm. Pro tip, put a towel down so that your cutting board doesn't roll around on you. I remember who I learned that from. It's forever ago though. I'm gonna cut a section. No. Nuh-uh.
You learned that from your wife.
I did not.
Gonna
cut a section off for my wife specifically so that she can put it in the oven. Now these do not have barbecue on. They're a classic dry rub. But you can easily just put barbecue on them and then put them in the grill basically to, I don't know, form it on there, get it all crispy on there. But my wife loves, oh, it's falling apart. She loves the barbecue all crispy on there, so. Oh, there you go. Free food for the dogs.
Not
Honey,
with the dog's food.
can you hand me the tray, please? That'd be good for you.
It's too much. I only need like 3.
Well, there you go. There's some extra ones for you. So I typically will cut them into 2s. But you can trim them however you want. And it is literally falling off the bone. These are the baby back ribs. And then I also have the St. Louis style ribs. Now, as I pointed out earlier, these have that extra section along the back. Essentially, we cut along this side here, and that would separate it out. Or you just cut along anyway. And then just eat around it. Just a little bit of gristle. The bones go a little weird, but I don't have a problem with the gristle. But essentially, you can just cut that section off, and then you actually have your regular ribs again. So, yeah. All said and done. Nice and tender. We got a good flavor. Yay. That's messy.